Hey, welcome into the Snap. Week 11 trade deadline is upon us in most of your leagues. If you play in Sleeper or you play on Yahoo, this is most likely your trade deadline. If you play on ESPN, you probably have, I believe, one more week. But in most leagues, you have to get these trades done before the end of the games on Monday night. So Landon and I are here 80 minutes, it's 8:20, 80 minutes before kickoff, ready to get to all of your trade questions. And this is going to be a little bit different than normal. If you guys could do us a favor, and when you're writing in your trades in the comments, we're going to try to get to them all. Trading away and acquiring will be two words that's really, really helpful, because when you say trading so-and-so for so-and-so, I don't know what side you're getting. So if Lane and I would just love if you could say trading for and acquiring would be really, really helpful. Lando, what's going on?
Lava Mac, I'm doing well. I've been negotiating all day on my trade, so maybe we'll be doing some live trading during the show. Either way, we're here to have some fun. If you do have some start questions about tonight's game, we can link into those. But this is mostly a trade deadline show where we can talk about trades we would do, trades we wouldn't do. Looking up highlighting players with really good schedule. We have a top 10 targets list that Mac made. The graphic looks great, Mac. And then we could talk about other guys that maybe you could acquire as well. So should be a lot of fun. Hopefully everyone enjoys this. This stream is for subscribers only to the show. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to answer or ask any questions. But either way, it should be a lot of fun, Mac, and we get to hang out pregame on Thursday night.
That's right. It's something that we don't do. Potentially we can do more of it if the people are down with it. But we got Easy in the chat, Temmie, Zach, Danny. Lots of good questions so far. I want to just clarify one thing. The top 10 trade targets list, look, these are not the best trade targets. Obviously, if you can go out and get yourself a Jonathan Taylor, I mean, absolutely, you're going to pay an arm and a leg to get him. So think about these trade targets as acquirable, somewhat affordable assets. Yes, again, I'd love to have Kyler Murray and Pat Mahomes and a variety of other running backs and quarterbacks and wide receivers, but some of them are just not worth the price you're going to pay. So let's go to Danny first. Trading away Russell Wilson and Mike Evans and acquiring Josh Allen.
So for me, Danny, I'm not typically trying to trade away positional players to upgrade at the quarterback position. If you could get a piece added on to Josh Allen, at least a startable asset, like if you could somehow muster like a Michael Pittman, that would be something along with Josh Allen that I would be okay with, because Mike Evans is a stud, and I do think that Russell Wilson is a quarterback that you can trust going forward. You forget that Josh Allen had many weeks of him being a very pedestrian quarterback, but we know he's got the big games, and Russell Wilson still has the opportunity to do that going forward. But so that's not really a trade I would do. I'd rather have the depth of having Mike Evans than just trading them away for Josh Allen. Mac, what are you thinking there?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Josh Allen has one of the worst playoff schedules that you could have in fantasy football right now. Not that I'm saying he's not matchup proof, but I agree with Lando. I wouldn't be willing to give up Mike Evans because I just don't think the difference, I don't think in the aggregate you're going to win. Total fantasy points, you're probably going to be slightly behind in that one. So I would pivot off if you could get a piece thrown in to sort of offset the Mike Evans, get the quarterback upgrade, that's cool with me, but I wouldn't do the 2-for-1 there unless it's, a really shallow league.
Love it.
Zach, trading away Keenan Allen and acquiring A.J. Brown and Odell. Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
that deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think A.J. Brown is the best player in that deal, and you're also acquiring some depth at the wide receiver position. And Odell, this is now, so last week, once Robert Woods went down, was the best time to trade away Odell. Now it's the best time to acquire Odell. Correct. Because he only played limited snaps. He wasn't on the field very much. He didn't know the playbook. They had a lot of hurry-up offense in that game, and there's no way Odell could get accustomed to their hurry-up in literally one practice. So he will get more involved with the offense. It's a great time to buy. I would absolutely do that deal, Zach. That's a really, really good deal.
Yeah, absolutely. MVP 2585, trading away Josh Jacobs, Tyler Lockett, and Rashad Bateman to get Austin Eckler. MVP, real quick, who are your other wide receivers? Because we're trading away multiple pieces. I'm okay with getting rid of Josh Jacobs. That upgrade between Jacobs to Eckler is massive, especially if this is a full PPR league. But what other wide receivers do you have? I would be interested to know. Does this hurt your wide receiving room, or are you very deep and this is like a no-brainer 3-for-1?
Yeah, exactly. If this is a 6 to 8 team league, even a 10-team league, getting that difference maker of Austin Eckler is something that you could definitely do. If it's a keeper league, a 12-team league, having the depth of Tyler Lockett and Josh Jacobs is something very valuable. If you're first in the league and you can afford to trade a bunch of guys away to get the best player, then maybe that is it. And thank you so much, Zachary. We appreciate the tip. Yeah, not necessary, but I hope the trade works out for you. I see MVP is letting us know his other wide receivers, so that's context is always great. But very much appreciate the super chat, my friend.
Yeah, Zach, thank you so much. The channel appreciates it. So he's got Hopkins, Hollywood, and Renfro. Renfro in for, I think, like Cole Beasley volume rest of season. He's sort of absorbed that slot high volume possession type role, and I like that for him. Hopkins, if he can get back healthy with Kyler, I mean, obviously that is an elite start there, and Hollywood's still the wide receiver 7 on the year. So I think I would do a 2-for-1. I would try to keep one of Lockett or Bateman. I think I would definitely do a 2-for-1, maybe not a 3-for-1 though.
Yeah, I would. If I could keep Tyler Lockett, I would in that scenario.
You'd just be relegated to the waiver wire to try to build some depth, and depending on what your waiver wire looks like, that might be the deciding factor. I think I would do 2-for-1 and not 3-for-1.
Yeah, let us know how that works, MVP, and if it comes down to it and you feel good about Austin Eckler rest of the season, he's going to be that difference maker, then I think it'd be fine. If Bateman's the hinge piece there, I guess.
Right. Danny Diaz, thanks, fellas. You confirm my suspicion. No problem, Danny. EZ, our moderator, one of our members, he's trying to trade for Ayuk and Hunter Henry before game time tonight. It's a full PPR. He would be giving away, I'm going to assume that's Allen Robinson and picks.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be giving away James Robinson at this point. But I think Ayuk is a great buy low. He's number 10 on our list. Very acquirable right now. They've got a great schedule rest of season. Debo is an absolute machine, but he does get hurt. He's a guy that gets hurt quite often, and at least has in his NFL career. If he stays healthy, Ayuk is going to be a kind of a low-end wide receiver 2 rest of season. And Hunter Henry, I mean, he's been very dependent on touchdowns this year.
Yeah. Do you know how many weeks it's been that Hunter Henry hasn't got in the end zone? So we have a 10 weeks so far. Tonight going to be the 11th. How many weeks has he not scored a touchdown?
Ooh, I'm going to guess 2.
4.
Okay.
He had 4 straight games with a touchdown. In week 8, he had a week off, and then 2 touchdowns last week and 1 again the week before. So Hunter Henry is 2, 4, 6, 7 total touchdowns in 10 weeks. He remains a very touchdown dependent asset, only surpassing 50 yards once on the year, and that was 75 yards in week 5.
Yeah, crazy. So I mean, we know that he gets touchdowns, and Mac Jones seems to like him. So if you're struggling at the tight end position, maybe you can make that happen. But let me know. Easy can let us know who he's got at the tight end position. So
yeah, I think I'm staying put as of right now, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
DM trading Alvin Kamara, acquiring Darren Waller, Terry McLaurin, and Elijah Mitchell. Oh boy. A big
who do you have at tight end right now?
A big piece. Let's just talk about this though, Lando. Without knowing who the other tight end if you're acquiring Darren Waller, clearly you need maybe an upgrade at the tight end position. Elijah Mitchell versus Alvin Kamara is a significant difference. However, Terry McLaurin is somewhat of a question mark. So we've seen really great weeks from him, and we've seen a couple down weeks now. Is there enough value here in Waller and McLaurin to offset the difference between Kamara and Mitchell? Because again, in the aggregate, if you can win, if you can add more points to your team net on a weekly basis, you're doing your team a service.
This is really tough.
Agreed. I agree.
Terry McLaurin is someone that it's very difficult to trust. He's a guy that he's got a great name and the big plays, but you never feel comfortable starting him despite the big name and the stardom that comes along with Terry McLaurin. Now, depending on the problem is a guy like Hunter Renfrow has been more consistent as a fantasy asset than McLaurin has games that don't lose you weeks where McLaurin has put up really bad dud games, but
right.
He has the ceiling that Renfrow doesn't, the big 120-yard, 2-touchdown kind of performance. So DM,
other tight end is Patty Fryer and Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert's a little bit shaky at the moment. Freiermuth is, I think, totally dependent on Big Ben's health. His other running backs are Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler. So I think I would do this deal.
So you'd rather have the depth and get the positional advantage from Waller.
Yep.
And you'd rather have possibly a flex play of Terry McLaurin.
Yes. Well, no, he would be flexing Kamara. It'd be Kamara and Jonathan Taylor, but he'd be flexing in Eckler. So you'd be going Taylor, Eckler, and then either flexing in McLaurin or Mitchell, depending on how the chips lie. Right?
Yeah.
So I think this is a big boost at tight end. And Derek Carr's a player on our screen that we have at quarterback that we think can kind of come up and maybe steal the show, have a really good run rest of season. Darren Waller has to be a part of that plan if that's going to come to fruition, right?
Right. Yeah.
I like it. I'm not a big proponent of trading away Alvin Kamara, but that's a pretty good haul.
Right.
I'll be right back, Lando.
Okay, sounds good. I'll keep going here. We have Gary. Gary's asking Foreman or Gallman PPR. I assume you're talking about this week. I'm gonna likely go Foreman this week. Gallman. I assume Gallman. You're talking. He was a popular ad this week. Now that Cordell Patterson is out, Gallman is playing for the Falcons. I still expect that Mike Davis is the guy this week, and now with the fact that the Tennessee Titans are short at the running back position, I think that Foreman will be the play, Gary. So I think that's going to be it. Let's see. Super 8 is in the chat. What's going on, guys? I'll go down here. I'm seeing everyone in the chat. Glock Guy, DM, Russell Beats. What's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on? Stevenson or Murray this week? That's tricky with Latavius Murray. I'm not sure if he's gonna play this week, but Stevenson I think is a fine flex play, but I think I would just wait and just hope that Murray is in a PPR league because they released Le'Veon Bell. I think Latavius Murray is in, but I'm going to jump back up to the previous questions. And now that Max
I'm back.
We've got traded Patterson and Waddle for James Robinson. We've got this question. CMC is my other back. He's 4-6, full PPR. Is it a good trade? He's asking. So I think that you traded away Cordell Patterson before he was injured, which is, I think, a good move. And you got rid of Waddle, which is the guy that we're targeting. But you got James Robinson. I think that's a more consistent running back. And I think you made out just fine there, especially with CMC. You've got a great chance from coming back to 4-6 to getting that final playoff spot.
Waddle's somebody that I really, really like, and he's been sort of undervalued in terms of he's flying under the radar is a better way to put it, based on his metrics. He's being targeted a lot, and just hasn't really connected for the touchdowns, only has 3 on the year. That the differential between, like, if he regressed to the mean would boost him well up fantasy leaders at this point in time. But we love Jalen Waddle. He's somebody in our top 10 right now we're trying to acquire, but pivoting off Patterson is probably a decent move.
Sounds good. Jesse, what's up? Tammy's still in here. What's going on, guys?
Yes.
Thanks for your questions.
We're on Tammy's question?
Yeah, we are.
Beautiful. Current receiving core: Davante Adams, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Pittman, Odell. Trying to acquire Najee. Would sending Adams and another one of the last 2 be too much for Najee? I think it would. Aaron Rodgers has a really good playoff schedule. Obviously, Davante Adams is tethered to him. I think if you can put out a combination of, DJ Moore and Michael Pittman, that would be something I'd be interested in. But Adams and Jefferson, I think, have to be sort of locked and loaded for you. It depends on who your running backs are, too. I'm going to assume that that you've got at least serviceable backs. But if you're, like, decimated, like you lost a Derrick Henry, for example, then maybe you have to make a desperate move, but you're almost going 0 RB at that point. So I don't know that I would move Adams or Jefferson. Are you thinking along the same lines?
Yeah, I think Davante Adams. It's been a while since he's had a big game, and he is truly a difference maker at that position. I love Najee Harris; he's great, but I would rather. Like, 1-for-1, if you desperately need a running back, I mean, it's fine, I guess. I just don't love it.
No. I'd be more in the business
of
buying Davante Adams from somebody who's maybe down on him.
Yeah. Yeah, Temmie had a follow-up. He's asking, should I trade away Wilson for Carr? And I would still keep Russell Wilson. I'm not out on Russell Wilson quite yet, even for Derek Carr, who has a good schedule going forward.
Did you see Russell Wilson said that their game last week against the Packers, in which they got shut out, he said it wasn't that bad. They were just a play or 2 away from having a good chance of winning the game?
I did not see that, but
crazy.
It was a blowout, but it did seem a little bit closer than the final score and at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were a play or 2 away, but I did think that they had I think they I don't know if they had a chance to win, but they had a chance to make it competitive, at least.
Just so you guys know, Cordarrelle Patterson is inactive tonight. Will not be playing.
Yes,
so if you've been running DFS, get him out of your lineups. If you have him on your teams, get him out. Find another option. We see one here, Stevenson or Murray this week in a full PPR. What do we think is going to happen for Ramondre tonight? We saw him be quite dominant last week, but that was in the absence of Damian Harris, and Damian Harris is slotted to play tonight. Do you have any confidence in him, or are you pivoting off to Latavius?
Yeah. I commented on this while you were gone. Okay. Actually, I saw this, and I would wait and see I would wait for Latavius Murray, and just roll likely with him or pick up someone. If you could flex a Hunter Renfrow or something and pick up somebody like a Tim Patrick or somebody late, you can pick up. I don't have a ton of confidence in Ramondre. I might need to start him this week, unfortunately, but that's it's basically out of desperation. So, I mean, Mac, here's the situation I'm in. I could start Ramondre tonight, or I could wait to see that maybe Miles Sanders gets activated, but they play New Orleans.
I saw something that Miles Sanders had to be activated by, I thought it was noon tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you'll know, but it's not.
I won't know tonight.
Honestly, I think I just take a shot with Ramondre.
I think that's what I'm doing too.
Temmie said that the 2 other running backs that they have, Gibson and Henderson. Obviously, Hurts with Henderson on bye this week. Depending on your matchup, you might have to make that move for Najee.
Gibson's back. He was on bye last week.
No, Henderson.
Oh, Henderson on bye.
Henderson's on bye this week.
Yeah.
So that might be the only thing. But I mean, if you're like an 8-2 team and you just have to get by this week, you go to 8-3 at the very worst. Then you have your 2 running backs back and healthy. Blah blah blah. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Thundarius dropping in to show the boys some love. Got to edit content tonight. But hey, you can have us on in the background, Thundarius. Any questions you have, let us know. We got you. Green names, blue names, get that priority. Jesse, what up? Did you get Clock Eye?
I have not gotten Glock.
Okay, should we hold on to Pat Mahomes or try to buy low and acquire Kyler Murray? It would leave me struggling at QB for a couple weeks, but Murray's playoff schedule looks great. He's 7-3 at the moment. We talked about this on the podcast, and we were kind of both in agreement. If you have Pat Mahomes, it's a name I'd be willing to sell given the state of the Chiefs, and Patty Mahomes just hasn't been the difference maker at the quarterback position that you were hoping for in the second and third round. So I am fully on board with trading away Pat Mahomes. I mean, you can stream the position and get, about the same. And he is terrible. Not that he's matchup proof. He hasn't been this year, but he has a terrible playoff schedule as well. So I am okay with trading away Pat Mahomes.
There we go. Eric is making massive trades today. I'm not sure if they're for the better, sir, but we'll find out. Traded away Drake, Broncos D, Cousins, Zach Ertz, Bateman, Deonta Foreman, and picks. Received Stevenson, Daryl Williams.
And a 1 and 2.
1 and a first and a second. I mean,
yeah. I like trading away. Trade away Kenyon Drake.
2.
If you can trade away a defense, cool.
He got Bills, D, AJ Dillon, Pollard, and Dak.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like you had a productive day, my guy. Seems like you had a great day. Let's see. Jesse saying, should I start Stevenson, Gallaudet, or Deonta Foreman in a full PPR? Oh boy.
I would probably wait and start either Gallaudet or Deonta Foreman.
And Deonta Foreman is interesting. I think if you blew the fab on Adrian Peterson, you probably spent it on the wrong guy. I know that I did. But I was able to get Deonta Foreman in a couple spots. I AP'd myself. Gallaudet is very interesting because he's had flashes, but hasn't had the consistency. Worth mentioning that Kadarius Toney was activated. He's not on the injury report and likely will play this week. So I would be kind of leaning Foreman, but potentially the Giants. I mean, the Giants play the Bucks though, so maybe I'd go Foreman.
Jeremy McNichols went into concussion protocol,
yeah,
so he is likely inactive or limited anyways. So that definitely boosts up.
And Deonta Foreman looking thick. My boy looking thick. We said this is not the prospect that we liked behind, or yeah, who was he behind in Houston?
In Houston, he was behind.
I'm trying to think.
No one good.
I'm trying to think. Who was Deonta Foreman behind? That I was like, man, if he just gets a chance, It
was I want to say it was like not like a Latavius Murray type guy, like Lamar Miller is what comes to mind.
It might have been. It honestly might have been. Dang. Yeah, he looks totally different than what I remember him. Definitely thicker, definitely bigger. Lucius, welcome to the stream. Would you start Pollard or Stevenson? Also, would it be bad to start Harris and Stevenson? The Falcons are so bad. I think starting Harris and Stevenson sort of limits your upside. Obviously that they are a run-first team. They want to win this game on the ground. They probably will be able to do so. And there's been times where you can start the two running backs. They just don't catch the ball enough for me. It's not like one's a pass-catching back and one's, the first or second down back. They kind of trade off. So I would be willing to toss Pollard in there. But I would go Harris. You absolutely have to go with the one.
Austin, what's going on, buddy? Welcome to the stream.
How are you?
Yeah.
I'm going Henry over Hawk this week. Yeah. Look, Jared Goff might not play this week, which might be a blessing in disguise. But how do you now start TJ Hawkinson given the fact that he can give you a donut? like last week, how did that happen? How does he
Yeah,
go 5
exactly.
quarters of football and not get more than 1 target? He's their best pass catcher. It makes no sense.
I know. I don't know either. And now we have a backup potential in Detroit this week. So I don't know if it could get worse than Jared Goff. So it must get better.
It has
right?
to get better. Somebody with a brain will throw the ball in the direction of number 88, hopefully, and 32 a lot. But I would also probably go Henry over Hawkinson this week too. I'm in a league where I've got Hawkinson and Ertz, and I also have Hawkinson and Pitts. So I'm going Pitts, and I'm debating Ertz. That one's tough for me. That one hurts.
Well, that's the thing. If Kyler sits, then Ertz makes it a tricky. Is difficult. I would go Hawkinson over Ertz this week.
If Kyler sits,
but if Kyler plays, then I would go Ertz.
Yeah, there was a report today about his ankle. It was looking decent. So we'll monitor that. We'll see how it goes. Mercado. I'm back, boys. First place, lost Henry. Sorry about that. Trading away Scary Terry and Khalil Herbert and acquiring Christian Kirk and Elijah Mitchell. Currently on the roster, Lamar, Kupp, A.J. Brown, Ramondre Stevenson, J.D. McKissick, Javonte Williams, and Alexander Madison. Okay. Trading away Scary Terry and Khalil. I like trading away Khalil Herbert because I don't think he has much value left. The only way that he has value is if David Montgomery somehow can't go. And I just don't see that happening. So getting Christian Kirk, downgrade from Terry, getting Elijah Mitchell, upgrade, huge upgrade from Khalil Herbert. And given that you have Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, I think you could probably use a little boost at running back with Elijah Mitchell. So I'm a fan of this deal.
Yeah, I don't mind it either. Tammy asks a great question. What makes Javonte Williams a better option than Melvin Gordon?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are probably wondering this because Melvin Gordon is currently the running back 15 in standard league or 14 in standard leagues, 15 in PPR leagues. While
Javonte like 26, Williams, I think. He's just outside the top 24.
Exactly. 26, 27, relatively speaking. So now Melvin Gordon has 7 touchdowns. Yep. That is obviously the biggest factor into why he is ranked that way. He's number 7 in the NFL in touchdowns. So Javonte Williams feels a lot like a Jonathan Taylor to me last year, where it took him a long time to break out. If you remember, guys, look at what Jonathan Taylor did last year. He was a screaming buy in all formats, and we were yelling it last year. And
not everybody thought that, though. Not everybody was on the same page with that.
Because he was a rookie. It was something that you had to see before you could believe, despite the talent. And I do strongly believe that Javonte Williams is that same guy. It feels bad. It feels terrible. I've got Javonte, and I want to sell him for someone that can help me win right now. But I do believe that he has the potential to be that league winner. We did a video on him this week. So he's number 8 in the NFL with 7 breakaway runs. His breakaway run rate is 6.8%, which is top 12 in the NFL. He has a great evaded tackles. He has a great broken tackle ability. We've seen him move piles of players. I believe in the talent of Javonte Williams. Yep. I hope he gets the opportunity, and that's the biggest hurdle for him going forward. And that's deciding between Melvin and Javonte, where I don't mind trading away Javonte if you can get a guy that gets a 70% snap share,
sure.
But it's not that many in the NFL. I want to say that who was I talking about had a 76% snap share was Daryl Henderson had a 76% snap share, and that's number 2 in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
it's just
Melvin Gordon.
There's not too many running backs that are fringe top 24 back with a 44% snap share. I mean, and what he's done so far is totally in correspondence with his production profile from college. You know, a very physical and tough runner who sheds tackles, who makes guys miss, and has explosive ability. Like you said, 8th in breakaway runs, 11th in yards created at 47 per game, and 13th in evaded tackles, 16th in rushing, all while getting the ball under 50%. Not to mention the Broncos have the easiest strength of schedule rest of season. If anything were to happen to Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams is probably the best backup running back in the business and has standalone value. I say this too with the idea that A.J. Dillon is going to get his shot. And I believe that if Javonte Williams got a 70% snap share, he is going to be able to compete with what A.J. Dillon could do with you. So I would bet on 2 guys as backup running backs to absolutely carry the load for you, and Javonte would be one of them.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I'm banking on it in a couple of these guys. Yeah. So hopefully it turns out. I want him to get that opportunity. So I hope. I mean, you never hope for an injury for a player, but I hope the coaching staff after their bye week just decides to give Javonte that 65-70% snap share, what he deserves.
Yep. Mercado saying, forgot to mention that Devontae Smith is the 3rd wide receiver in that deal. The deal is done. Does that make it any better? Absolutely. He's coming on strong. He's finally getting the target share that he probably deserves. Nobody else on that team is worthy of that kind of volume, and he's making hay with it. So yeah, that's fantastic. Getting hot at the right time.
Yep.
Kendrick Bourne or Robbie Anderson this week, Lando?
Neither, Jeff.
Are you tempering expectations with Cam Newton as the starter in Carolina, for the pass catchers, or do you think that he'll be an upgrade to Sam Darnold?
You know what? It's probably going to be pretty similar. And Sam Darnold couldn't sustain 2 fantasy wide receivers. He could barely sustain 1. I do think the offense will move pretty good with Cam Newton, which should give them more opportunities. We have finally a healthy Panthers team, Jeff. So it's going to be one of those things that Robbie Anderson, man, I don't know. Kendrick Bourne's been very efficient. I think he's playing like a 60% snap share, running the least amount of routes, but making the most amount of fantasy points with those. So I'm not going to rely on efficiency. Someone that's so efficient is is a fantasy analyst's worst nightmare. What Cordell Patterson was early on in the season, that they get 2 touches and score 2 touchdowns. We try to project targets, target share, all that. But if someone breaks those rules, that's what really kills us. And Kendrick Bourne is doing that. And I guess Robbie did that last week and caught that 1 pass and one touchdown.
Yeah, so Kendrick Bourne coming off his best performance of the year, so is Robbie Anderson, unfortunately, which was 4 for 37 and a touchdown. I would play Kendrick Bourne if I had to choose between the 2. They have a better matchup. Right. I feel better with Mac Jones, and the Falcons are just horrendous. So that's where I'm going. Love to you, Mercado. Thanks for coming back. Great to see your name in the chat. Hopefully we see you on Sunday as well. Griffin, on a hardcore rebuilding team, would you trade Jefferson? No, I would not. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase would be 2 pieces at the wide receiver position that I would be holding on to for dear life. I don't know if somebody could come knocking with enough that I would trade them.
Exactly.
Especially wide receiver.
Those pieces just mean so much to you, and eventually he'll still be the building block around your team, the difference maker. If you can get so many picks that just don't turn out, and then you're always hoping to get that next Justin Jefferson. That's what you're hoping for. You're trying to hit those picks to get Jefferson. Now that Jefferson's that guy and he's 21, 22 years old, you can hang on to him for the next 6-7 years.
Think about what Deebo Samuel is giving to you right now. He's winning you weeks. He's 25. It took us 3 years to get to this point. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are giving you that in year 1 and 2. Justin Jefferson gave you that last year. We have another 3 years until we get to the Deebo Samuel point. We have 5 years until we get to the 27, 28-year-old Davante Adams that is, the undisputed number 1 fantasy asset. Wide receivers become elite later in their 20s. Running backs are elite fresh out of college. So I'm not giving away Jefferson. And if I did, it'd have to be for, 3 first-round picks. It'd have to be something crazy.
There you go.
Austin said he's about a day away from dropping Carson. I think the Seahawks are also a day away from dropping. I'm kidding. He may not come back.
Yeah, it just came out that Alex Collins did not practice with a groin issue. So hopefully he gets hopefully it's not serious. He can get back to playing, because otherwise it's going to be a Travis Homer, Rashad Penny show for Seattle.
Rashad Penny's like one of the only first round picks in like the last 6 or 7 years that hasn't actually gotten a chance at a full workload. It's crazy. At the running back position anyways. Temmie, would you trade away Pittman for Cooper? I would.
Amari Cooper, Amari Cooper's a great trade for candidate. Pittman's been awesome too. You might be able to get more.
Yeah, agreed. In a weird league with 2 starting QBs, got Prescott, Wilson, Tua, Mac Jones, and I just got Newton. Traded Mac for Kittle. What do you think? I think given that you have Prescott, Wilson, Tua, and Newton, I mean, we have a limit on quarterbacks in our 2 QB league. You can't have more than 3. We try to keep the positions somewhat sort of spread out. The fact that you had 5, absolutely trade Mac, get an upgrade at the tight end position. We've seen George Kittle in his comeback, unbelievable. He's clearly the number 1 in the offense. He's going to be a positional advantage for you week in and week out. Might win you your league.
Yeah. Jesse, in a 2 QB league, quarterbacks are so valuable, and you got a positional advantage there at the tight end position. But because people sometimes, it's easy to forget that just because you have an abundance of wealth doesn't diminish the value of Dak Prescott, for example. Like you have, or Russell Wilson for that matter, you have a great options, and Mac Jones had a great week last week. It's nice that you actually capitalized on that. But I think you should. If you trade away quarterbacks, you should try to get fair value, even if you have a lot of them.
Griff, real quick, we'll get to Jeff and Glock Guy. Is it a 1 QB league or a Superflex or 2 QB? Just specify that real quick. That does change my answer.
Yeah, for sure, Griff. Let us know.
Jeff has no other options. He's all in on Bourne. I would be too. I would play Bourne over Anderson without thinking twice. Glock, I don't know if you talked about him already, but you guys have faith in Eli Mitchell this week. My wide receiver 2 spot hurting too with Hopkins. Jeez. Do I have faith in Eli?
Against Jacksonville? For sure, I do.
Yeah,
Why
there
not?
was.
So he's got surgery, right? He's surgery on his
finger,
finger.
though. It's just a finger.
Yeah.
I think he plays. I do think he'll be fine. He played last week. He's fine.
Check to see if Jeff Wilson's on waivers. I would add him in case Eli Mitchell's a last minute out. It's hard. I mean, they seemed optimistic right from the get-go from the surgery, but after a player gets surgery, it feels like it's at least a couple weeks before he's back.
But it's a finger.
But
it's not like it's a hand or a wrist or a forearm. Like, it's just a finger.
Is he gonna have like one pinky sticking out when he carries the ball or something?
I mean, as long as it doesn't affect his grip, I think he'll be fine. Gator fan, what's going on? Glad you made it in. Griff said a Superflex league. If someone came knocking for Josh Allen in like a Superflex dynasty, I'm going to need at least 2 first-round picks and a little bit extra.
And I would want to get a quarterback in return, Griff. I want to get a Trey Lance because you get to trade him. He hasn't played a game yet, so that's great. You want to get Fields. You want to get a Trevor Lawrence. Those kind of players, or you want to get in return for Josh Allen. None of them have done anything this year of note. So
and this quarterback class coming in next year in 2022, not looking great.
Not looking great. So getting those picks is great and all, but if you're trading away a quarterback in a Superflex league, the caliber of Josh Allen, I would ask the moon. You have Justin Jefferson and Josh Allen. That's a pretty good,
core.
Start to
it's a solid core.
Yeah.
Would we move Hawkinson for someone like Michael Carter? So TJ,
who is your other?
TJ Hawkinson, just
end,
for
Austin?
context, has the worst schedule for tight ends rest of season. It can't get any worse, but it all depends on who your backup tight end is. As much as I like Michael Carter, I don't think he's going to win you your league per se.
No. Now here's a tough one.
And
Mac.
let's not forget
if his
the
backup,
the volume that TJ Hawkinson has had for the majority of the season.
Speaking of volume, if he's got Dan Arnold at his backup, you got 10 targets against Seattle, 7 and 8 in the past 2 games. Then do you feel comfortable? He's got, and his other tight end is Hunter Henry, or who's getting 2 touchdowns a game, basically. Are you moving on from Hawkinson there for a positional player?
Well, Austin, who are your other running backs? Like, how helpful is Michael Carter to your current running back room? That's the real question. Because I'm okay.
If you need to start him,
I'm okay with Henry. But I mean, Hawkinson, he has a bad schedule, but he's been a tight end that had a lot of volume. He was on pace for 130 targets. So TJ Hawkinson's been fine. He's just been at the mercy of Jared Goff, and the lack of touchdowns too doesn't help.
Yeah.
GGG? Is that how you say that? GGG?
Maybe,
Tua,
yeah.
Mac Jones, or Justin Herbert this week. Damn. I'm going to go Justin Herbert this week.
Yes, I am as well. Doesn't feel good after he had a bad game last week, but I do think even against a little bit of a banged up Pittsburgh defense, I think Herbert has a good game.
Myles Gaskin or James Robinson?
Yeah, so I think I would go James Robinson as well.
I want nothing to do with Myles Gaskin. I know he's running back 20 on the year. I don't know how.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah, not into it either.
I received Judy. Traded away Devontae Smith. First place in my division by 2 games. And I have Debo, DeAndre Hopkins, and DJ Moore. What do y'all think?
It's a great question for Mac.
Damn. As much as I love Jerry Jeudy and Devontae Smith is Devontae Smith, I would rather have Devontae Smith. I have no faith in Teddy Bridgewater to do the right thing, to be reliable. He is a problem for fantasy football. I know that he targets Jeudy a lot. I think that I would rather have Devontae Smith though, who's had a much bigger target share, who's in an offense that sometimes finds themselves in competitive game scripts. Sometimes they're in garbage time, and it's just air it out. So I'd rather have Devontae Smith. It is marginal though. It's not that big. I mean, Jerry Jeudy has been far and away the better wide receiver and the more favorite wide receiver for Teddy Bridgewater. I just don't have faith in Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, and trading for Jeudy, I guess it's trade deadline week, so it's tough. If you're going to trade for someone, you got to trade for him now. But Judy's on bye, so it makes it tough. I wish you could have waited till next week to at least get the game out of Devontae Smith. But either way, it's not a complete L, Mike. But Mac isn't a big fan of Jalen Hurts either, and still prefers the Devontae Smith side by a little bit. Mike also said he picked up Derrick Henry on his IR because someone dropped him. Derrick Henry's not coming back for the season. So unless it's a keeper league, then sure, maybe you can keep Derrick Henry for first again next year.
Yeah.
But there's no point having Derrick Henry on your team.
There's been some rumors flying around that Derrick Henry could be back for week 17. 17 or 18. I find that highly unlikely. It's most likely going to be like the first week of January, if anything, and fantasy football will be over, unfortunately. But sure, if he does come back a week early and you get him for like a fantasy championship matchup, roll him out. It's Derrick Henry. If he's ready to go, he's ready to go.
Yeah, but Mike, if you have someone that goes on IR and it's for 3 weeks only, just put him in, take Henry out, and then drop Henry if you don't need him. But yeah,
Austin saying that he lost Derrick Henry, has Najee, Gaskin, Collins, Latavius Murray. It's not pretty. He needs a running back too. In that case, I would trade TJ Hawkinson for Michael Carter.
There you go. Maybe Latavius plays this week because they dropped Le'Veon Bell, so it's possible that Latavius goes in. But yeah, I don't mind the deal.
Nice
Austin.
little nugget here for you guys. Since the Week 6 bye for the New York Jets, Michael Carter has been the running back 5. Fantastic, on a really good pace, getting a lot of pass catching work. Mike White is not going to be the starter, unfortunately, this week, which was really good for Carter. We'll see how that all plays out. But Michael Carter's been sneaky good. Currently the running back 20 on the year.
Gator fan, I was hoping you were going to put the question in the YouTube channel since we're on here.
I got it, though.
Okay.
It's all good. He did. He just posted his team. So he's got
Gotcha.
It's a 2 QB league. He's got Flacco and Kyler Murray at quarterback. Also has Justin Fields on the bench. So I mean, get Justin Fields.
Would you play Fields over Flacco?
Yeah, get Fields in there.
Fields over Flacco. Gator fan.
Even though it is Baltimore, I mean, Baltimore's looked very pedestrian at times. They're not the elite defense they once were. So yeah, get Fields in there. James Conner, Jonathan Taylor, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman on the bench. Chris Carson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chase Claypool, Kadarius Toney, and Hunter Henry. Ridley on the reserve. Kadarius Toney is really the only piece this week that you might put in there. But over Allen, Higgins, Bateman, I think I would just roll with what you've got. The roster looks solid.
Yep.
Just swap out Flacco for Fields, and that's all I would change.
Yeah, I like
Cats
that.
Pajamas, what up?
Good stuff. Yo, Cats, what's going on? Nice to have you in. Connor, thanks for coming by. Yeah, appreciate everyone walking in. We've got 21 likes. Appreciate everyone for hitting that like button.
Sir.
So make sure you do if you haven't already.
Temmie, do we start Wilson or Mac Jones this week?
Oh, I think you know what, Mac? I haven't done my rankings this week, but I think I would go with
starting Russell Wilson.
Russell as well.
Griff, in a rebuild, how much value do second and later picks hold? Should I look to package multiple later picks to move up rounds? Yes, I would. I would definitely move up rounds. It depends on the class. It really, really does. I'll tell you this. The 2022 draft class is going to be fairly weak, especially in a non-Superflex league. In Superflex, there's always more value late because quarterbacks get moved up draft boards, and therefore that pushes back wide receivers, running backs, tight ends. This year, for example, you had 5 marquee quarterbacks that shifted back. You know, guys like Jalen Waddle, Rashad Bateman, Michael Carter. They got pushed into like the back end first, early second. Regular leagues, they're like back end first. But in a 1 QB league, Trevor Lawrence is going like a 110, 111, 112. So if you play in a 1 QB league, then you have to move up. And 2022 is going to be very shallow, in my opinion. 2023, though, I am collecting seconds because I think it's going to be very similar to this year's class. Quite deep, lots of value in the second round. You know, guys like Kadarius Toney and Elijah Mitchell available in the second and even third rounds. So 2022, no. 2023, yes. That's what I would be prioritizing.
Yeah, it would be seeing how good this class was and how much they've struggled for the most part, except for a couple notable wide receivers. The next class, it'd be shocking anyways, to say the least, if they come out firing like maybe last year's class did. We have Connor, start Kadarius Toney or Lockett. I got Marquise Brown and Chubb and Flex, and I would go Tyler Lockett. Connor.
I would as well. Not to say that Kadarius isn't capable of a big game. They got a tough matchup, though. And I'm not really wanting my matchup on Monday night coming down to Kadarius to get it done. So I'm with Lando. Tyler Lockett. Russ is back. We'll give them a pass on last week's game against the Packers. 0 points. First time ever the Seahawks have been shut out with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Good take. Bridgewater sucks. Honestly, my fantasy name is Judge Judy, so I was like, forget it. I gotta get him. last place team. Yeah, I mean, look, get your guy. The difference between Judy and Devontae Smith is very small in my opinion. So yeah, if you think Judy's your guy and you want to name your team after him, do your thing. I would slightly hedge in the direction of Devontae Smith.
Should I trade Elijah Mitchell and Daryl Williams for James Conner from Muhammad?
No, and the reason I say this is, yes, James Conner, without Chase Edmonds, has gotten the full workload, has been the goal line guy, and has really been out-producing what his expected fantasy points is because of touchdowns. He has been the recipient of many vulture touchdowns. Now, Daryl Williams, yes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire might be coming back. However, Daryl Williams has carved out, in my opinion, a nice little pass-catching role for himself. I think he is the superior pass catcher to Clyde. I think he is a more serviceable back in that area of the field, and Clyde just hasn't gotten the targets when he's been healthy. So I think that Daryl sort of gets himself into this offense, and then Elijah Mitchell, like you've said it multiple times, Landon, could be a top 20 running back rest of season without a question of a doubt. Maybe top 15. He's certainly got that ceiling with the Niners.
And the schedule they have going forward. So you know what? It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, Muhammad. I could see that to make that move, but I think it would have to be reliant on Chase Edmonds being limited or out rest of season.
Even then, I'm not looking to trade away 2 running backs for 1 at this stage in the game. I'd rather have depth.
Yeah, I would like. I'm not trading for Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now because if you think he's going to be back next week, just because I'd rather just see it first. I want to see Clyde get on the field and see what the splits are. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait because the trade deadline is right now. We're gonna have to wait to see it first. So Clyde Edwards is a guy not on my list at all.
Either way, though, I would still rather have Elijah Mitchell straight up over James Conner rest of season.
Right. So there you go.
You know, like the way that you say, yeah, Clyde will be back, that takes away from Daryl. Well, Chase Edmonds is going to be back eventually, and that's going to take away from James Conner.
Yep.
So you can have it both ways, but I'd rather have both. Gator fan, 2-parter. Based on my roster, would you look to make any trades or just hold? And 2, would you be willing to drop Ridley or Carson? I mean, you don't have to drop Ridley. He's on your reserve.
Yeah. So, I mean, unless you're trying to, if you switch Carson onto your reserve and Ridley out of your reserve to pick up a player, it depends who's available on the waiver wire. If you're in a deep league, there's probably not too much available. You've got really good depth. I don't really want to drop anyone from that list, especially in a 2-quarterback league.
No.
You have 3.
You could sell James Conner, and you could pair him with a Claypool, a Tony, a Hunter Henry, even a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You could pair 2 of those guys together and go get yourself an upgrade. But yeah, like James Conner, sell high on him because I just don't see this level of production lasting. So I'd be looking to sell James Conner high if anybody's willing to buy that.
There you go. I like it.
Who do we got next?
Mercado still in the chat. What's going on? Eli Mitchell trade in the books. And look who I found available, Mr. Jeff Wilson.
Let's go.
I love that. Perfect.
Isn't first place supposed to feel great? Yes. Yes, it is. No, that's great. That's a great little piece, Lando. Pick up Jeff Wilson Jr. You never know. We saw him get a little bit more active last week, which is, I mean, definitely fine. Yeah. For those Mitchell owners, not great, but he didn't take away too much, so fine. Thinking about trading away Odell for Javonte Williams because I have depth at wide receiver. Absolutely. I would rather have Javonte over Odell.
Correct. I agree.
Recently traded.
If someone's willing to do that deal. Do that.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, if someone's willing to do that.
Oh, heck yeah.
For sure.
I recently traded Justin Jefferson and Marvin Jones for Nick Chubb. Do you think I won this trade? I mean, it depends what the rest of your team looks like, to be honest. If Nick Chubb loses or doesn't play this week because of COVID, you probably lost, unfortunately. I'm not going to lie to you. You probably lost, but who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I I don't. Yeah, I would rather not. I wanted a receiver. Like if Marvin Jones was coming back with Nick Chubb, maybe. Marvin Jones is kind of a tossing right now. I would want a receiver getting back. I would want to get a Michael Pittman back, something like that. T. Higgins, a receiver with some value. Obviously, upgrading at a stud running back is hard to do sometimes, and you maybe had to overpay to get that guy. But uh, I hope you've got great depth at the wide receiver position. That's going to be, I guess, the hinge factor there if you can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Chubb, given the full workload, no Kareem Hunt, like he might be the best running back in the league with full volume. He's been kind of capped, but love Nick Chubb, really really solid. So is Justin Jefferson though. So a very very equal trade. I kind of like Marvin Jones is whatever. But yeah, if you have the wide receiver depth to stomach it, you could potentially be winning that trade. Temmie says you might be able to tell, but I've been waiting for this lime trade for a while. So glad that we could come through on that for you. Rays plays just traded away Tyreek Hill, Cole Beasley, and a third, and acquired CeeDee Lamb and David Montgomery. I'm a big fan. I'm a fan of this deal.
Yeah. I mean, Tyreek Hill's been a volatile player. We've seen Pat Mahomes be very pedestrian this week. We talked about it on the podcast.
I'm going to assume this is a dynasty league too, if you're trading away a third.
I assume it's
or a keeper league.
Right. I assume it is a dynasty league. And if it is a dynasty league, CeeDee Lamb is an amazing dynasty asset and is going to have so much value for so long. And David Montgomery's more like a win now piece. He's a piece that you needed rest of season to get through the playoffs and win a championship. So you got rid of a really elite piece in Tyreek Hill, but he's I think 27 now. He's aging in dynasty.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean if I can, yes, Tyreek Hill will be the better, higher scorer than CD, but for how long? CD's got 5 years on Tyreek Hill. I would much rather have CeeDee Lamb in Dynasty over Tyreek Hill. So selling off high on some of these wide receivers as they start to near their late 20s and early 30s, clearly a great move, I think, long-term when you look at historically with Dynasty League. So, yeah, I'm a big fan. David Montgomery only 24, so you can get a year or two out of him, too, before you potentially move on. And Cole Beasley's someone you can forget about probably in the next year or two.
Yeah, Montgomery is one of those guys that you really need to know when to press the eject button on him. He seems like a back that's not really going to last in the league, but I do think he's got a couple, 1 or 2 years left in him.
Yeah, I agree. Griff said, just sold Connor yesterday, packaged him and Judy for a 2023 first and a second. Maybe should have got more, but I'm happy with that in a rebuild. I've lost faith in Judy in that offense, unfortunately. I have too, unfortunately. But Connor, Judy for 2023 first and second, I'm a big fan of that. I really like that.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Gator fan,
Connor.
I know they've gone back and forth this season, but thoughts on Keenan Allen versus Mike Williams rest of season? Keenan Allen, no second thoughts for me.
Yep. I'm pretty good.
Would you go after Lockett, Aaron Jones, or Kyle Pitts? Any of the following?
You could try. Aaron Jones might be a good buy low right now. You have Mark Andrews, so it's not like I'm trying to acquire Kyle Pitts right now either. Lockett, Aaron Jones are decent buy lows, just depends on the price. So you could offer Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you could offer up Kadarius Toney, maybe Chris Carson if someone thinks he's going to come back. Yeah, I don't mind those.
Mm-hmm. Muhammad, who is one under-the-radar receiver in your opinion?
Underrated wide receiver.
N'Keal Harry, right?
Hunter Renfrow is underrated. That guy's a stud. PPR machine.
Yeah. Rashad Bateman's just a name that always comes to mind. I think he's gaining some traction. He's still only rostered in 68% of leagues. That's on Sleeper. It could be different on Yahoo, but 68% of leagues on Sleeper have Rashad Bateman on their teams. Like 2/3 of leagues only rostering Rashad available in a third. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Only has 4 games sample size, but gaining targets week over week. I definitely like Rashad Bateman. Absolutely.
Keenan Allen might be underrated.
No, you can't
based
say
how
you can't go Keenan Allen.
What do you mean? Like people don't think he's an elite.
He is though. He's been that. He's a stud.
Yeah. I just don't think that people view him that way. Is why I think he's underrated.
I definitely think people. I mean, look at his draft capital. He's a 4th round wide receiver, and that's probably the lowest he's been in a while.
Was he? I guess.
Yes,
so.
he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
All right.
I don't know. We can dive into that a little bit more. Let's go. I'm just gonna bring up fantasy leaders here. Maybe somebody that we are a little.
That's kind of what I just did, just to see if someone stuck out to me. I think we missed Connor Leslie. Leslie had a.
Last week won 131.2 to 129.8. Congratulations to improve to 8-2. What a record. Had a 1% chance to win, and with 6 seconds left in the game, the Lockett catch put me over. Guess he deserves a start for that. Absolutely.
There we go.
Tell everybody real quick about the story from our Discord, our private chat, about the guy who started the defense and lost.
Yeah, one of our members, our YouTube members, if you guys want to join, it's only $4 a month, and you get more chats with us. Tammy, if you're interested, if you're enjoying this, maybe you get another one. And he was going up against the Rams defense on Monday night, and all the owner had to do was sit them down. He was up by
6.
The other guy was up by 6 points, and then the Rams defense in this scoring setting had -8 points. And he ended up losing. Our member Chris won by 2, and that was just. I would be tilting. I would be fuming. Like, you have to know, if you're up and you have a defense on Monday night, just sit them. It doesn't matter if you get 5 points, 20 points, 1 point. Like, sit down that defense. Take them out of your starting roster.
I'm gonna come back with somebody who's underrated this year, T. Higgins. I'd be willing to pick up T. Higgins down the stretch.
Okay. I guess for me, T. Higgins isn't someone I'm targeting, so I guess I underrate him as well.
Yeah. Austin, sorry boys, one more question. Just realized Gronk is available. Should I drop Hunter Henry and play Gronk over both him and Hawk? I think I'm going to go hands off Gronk for one more week. However, I do think that you should pick him up and stash him.
Yeah, if you could pick him up. I don't know if I'm willing to play him, but I did see he practice in full this week. Great news for Gronk. I know he's a target monster when he's on the field and healthy, but he tried to play a couple of weeks ago, and he played, I think, 1 snap, and that was it.
If you pick up Gronk, you're probably dropping Hunter Henry. So I think that if you do that, you're going into this week going, okay, it's Gronk or it's Hawkinson, because you're not going to start Hunter Henry over either, given his dependency on touchdowns. So that would be my advice. I think Gronk is definitely a stash, and I'd be willing to play Hawkinson this week if Gronk isn't ready to go. But between Gronk and Hawkinson, you should be able to stream matchups the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think so too.
Rays says my league is a dynasty, so that's awesome. That trade becomes even better. Unsure if he should keep J.K. Dobbins or trade away, and I'm absolutely keeping J.K. Dobbins in dynasty leagues.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know people are going to like him a lot, even throughout this offseason. If you want to trade him away, I don't think this is the time. No. You want to wait until like next season, right preseason, right before your draft in dynasty. That might be the time to trade him away. But I think you got to hold on to JK for a while now.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm trading away J.K. Dobbins, I'm going to want likely a 2023 first and extra. You know, I'm going to be targeting the 2023 class. So I can wait a full year before I make that trade, right? Because I don't really want a piece of the 2022 class. We've said this. I've said this before and again. I don't want it. Isaiah Spiller, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker are like your big 3 running backs. After that, it kind of falls downhill. Zamir White is somebody who's like has an outside chance of being fine, but Isaiah Spiller, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, those are like the big 3, but they are not the Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, why am I missing the other running back from this year? Bring it to my brain.
Travis
Etienne, thank you. They are not on par. They are not the same. There is no Jonathan Taylor or Najee Harris in this class. Breece Hall is great, but he's not on that level. So I would be targeting the 2023 class. And so you have a full year to see if J.K. Dobbins accrues value. And if he's fantastic and if he comes back and just lights the league on fire in a really run-heavy offense, you either keep him or you sell higher than you are going to right now. So I would hold on to J.K. Dobbins.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Tammy, welcome to the Snap Army. We have a new member. We appreciate you. We have a Discord channel a private Discord server to send you. I don't know if you're a part of our Discord community yet, but either way, we can get you that link. But yeah, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. And we at the last Wednesday of every month, that's going to be November and a week's time, November 24th, we'll do a live show and you'll get a private invite.
Yeah, we do a Zoom call and we get as many of our members on as possible and we just chat fantasy football. We go through trades just like this. We get like a little face-to-face action. It's quite nice. So welcome to the Snap Army. Appreciate you. Let's go. Let's see. Did we get Temmy's question?
He's got
pick two
pick two to start this week. He's got Mack, Kirk, Russell, and also what would you say is the reason to start Russ over Mack this week?
You go ahead on this one.
I mean, I've been talking about Russ for all night. It feels like.
I know he's been a hot topic.
Hot topic. I know Arizona is not a good defense, is a good defense. It looks like they're playing in Seattle, so that should help. I think Russell Wilson. I think that's a game you just throw out last week.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
His first time coming back off that surgery. We know what Russell Wilson is. He's a very consistent top 10, top 12 quarterback. I know Mac Jones showed what he could do last week. Had a great game, threw 3 touchdowns, but it is a run-first team. I wouldn't be surprised if Damian Harris has a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson might have a touchdown. And it probably could be Hunter Henry with that third, but that still only leaves 1 passing touchdown for Mac Jones tonight. I am starting Mac Jones tonight, unfortunately, but I have Matt Stafford on bye, so I really don't have another option unless I pick Tua up off waivers. So that's just kind of my thing. I just think if it's a competitive game for Arizona, if Kyler's back, that leads to more passing scripts for Russell Wilson. And the Seahawks, if they don't have a rushing game right now, which it seems like Alex Collins is also hurt, so it'll be the DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett show. Maybe Gerald Everett gets involved. What we want is a competitive game against Arizona, and I think that's what we get. That's what I'm game scripting. Now, if it's the opposite, like what we saw, what happened in the San Francisco game, and it was a rushing game last game, it's the opposite of what we project. I mean, is what it is, but that's why I'm going Russell.
I would go Russell as well. I would go Mac over Kirk. Kirk Cousins has to go play the Green Bay Packers. That game is going to be very interesting, and the Packers secondary is pretty legit. They are susceptible to the run, and Dalvin Cook should have a pretty solid game, but that secondary is legitimate. So I would sort of fade off of Kirk this week. I would play Mac Jones.
Sounds
Cody,
good.
trade away Michael Carter and acquire Tyler Lockett. I have Zeke, Najee, and Swift. Sure. Zeke, Najee, Swift. So Najee passed the bye, Swift passed the bye. The Cowboys are past their bye. So you are, barring injury, you are locked and loaded to go. The Seahawks, though, they've had their bye as well. So yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Carter for Lockett. It's not getting a lot of value, but if you need a wide receiver, it's certainly helpful.
Yeah. Sounds good, Cody. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. We have 7 people watching. People are starting to tail off because kickoff happens in about 10 minutes. Let us know right now if you have any last-minute questions, if you have any start-sits or anything, or if you just want to hang out before game time.
Yeah, again, Temmy, thank you so much. Welcome to the Snap Army. Griff, an American Thanksgiving, hang out and chill for the Snap Boys. Absolutely. When is American Thanksgiving? Is it this weekend?
It's next weekend.
Okay. Muhammad, A-Rob, Elijah Mitchell, Nick Chubb, Michael Gallup, Christian Kirk, Daryl Williams. Who and for what should I trade to complete my roster? These ones are tough.
Yeah, we don't know what the Aaron Jones owner wants, Gator fan.
Sorry, this was Muhammad. This was for Muhammad.
Oh, sorry. Who should I trade for? Okay, to complete my roster. Sorry.
Yeah. Muhammad, if you're still in here, join the Discord, and then you can sort of pop your roster in and maybe some potential trade partners, and we can sort of go back and forth and help you out there. So the link is in the description, in the YouTube description. If you open it up, you'll find the link to the Discord. We can help you out there. Gator fan, I know you really went over this, but with them both being buy low options, what would the fair value to offer for each of Aaron Jones and Tyler Lockett? Gator, we're gonna have to do that in the Discord, because like Landon said, you just don't know what those guys need, and again, when you're trying to get trades done, keep this in mind. You have to meet somebody else's need. Like, you have to try to help somebody else meet their needs as much as you're meeting your own, and that's how trades get done. If it's one-sided and you're being selfish, trades just don't happen. Unless someone is oblivious. So you have to meet somebody else's needs to help yourself.
Yeah, obviously the Aaron Jones owner may need a running back to start this week, but if he has a bunch of running back depth and your guys you're offering him don't help at all, he's just not going to move him. So whether we think it's a fair offer or not, like exactly what Max said, if it's not going to help his team, if the player you're offering is just on your bench, it'll be on his bench, that's not going to get it done. So I would go to the Aaron Jones or Tyler Lockett owner, see who they have interest on your team, come to us with the trade, and we'll let you know if we would do that. That's the best way to do it. We can't really manufacture trades because the guy we don't know how they value players.
Chris, how are you? Welcome in. Glad you're here. 25th is American Thanksgiving next week. I mean, we would have seen it on the broadcast. Kind of a naive
that's what
thing.
I was saying. Yeah,
a Canadian. You know, an oversight, but hey, we can hang out with the boys. Our Thanksgiving was about a month ago, so we're always indifferent. Bars in the tuck, what's a better option, starting both Harris and Stevenson or sitting both? I have Daryl Williams, CEH, Jordan Howard, Rashad Bateman, and Pollard as options. I would start Harris, and then I would decide between Daryl Williams and Rashad Bateman as like the flex play there.
As of right now, I lean Daryl because I'm expecting CEH to be out. So I will, Tammy, I'll share the Discord link right now in the chat.
And then we'll also add you to the private Discord with, you've seen Chris in here and Griffin and Austin. They're all in our private chat for our YouTube members. So we'll get you that link right now, and then you'll be in. Absolutely.
There you go. There's an updated
So
link.
Bars in the tuck, I would go Harris, and then I would decide between Williams and Bateman closer to Sunday. That would be the way that I would go about things. Beautiful.
Perfect.
So we got 5 minutes until game time. I think this is going to be where Landon and I sign off. Thank you so much for coming by. If you guys like the trade segment, pop a comment down when we're done. When I click end in a couple moments, go into the comments and let us know, hey, I want to do more of these. Please let us know. We would love to help you out. I'm kind of mad that the Leafs are good now. Man, the Leafs have always been good. We're just getting robbed of Stanley Cups. We just have to keep putting off the championship, the Stanley Cup parade every single year. It sucks. But maybe this is the year.
This is the year.
All right, guys. Good luck tonight. This should be a gross game. Hopefully, it's a huge Kyle Pitts game. I would love that for myself, and maybe a big Mac Jones night too.
Hey, wouldn't hate it.
Go New England defense. That's who I've got for my DraftKings captain tonight. I'm hoping for a big one. Last one, Gator fan. Are you concerned about either Tony or Claypool? Tony, no. Claypool, yes.
Yeah, Claypool, I want to see healthy. I'm sitting him until he's healthy. So I like Claypool as a player, but he's right on the bench, right on the pine until he proves that he's worth a start.
All right, guys, we will see you on Sunday. Same not same time, but same place. We're going to be 11:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to get you ready, pick up the pieces from Thursday night, get you ready for Week 11, and any last trades we might be able to discuss then too. So good luck tonight.